Funny story. I've made over 1,500 videos on YouTube and done bunches of live streams, and I've been a performer on stage or musician, whatever, for many, many years. And even though that's the case, I just rambled for like 20 plus minutes to make this video without without having hit record. Now, my microphone is on and it is recording. I can see there. So let's just get into it. Now, why should you listen to me? Since I've been doing this for so long and couldn't do the simplest thing like hit record. Why should you listen to me? Well, I've built my channel, Painfully Honest Tech, over the course of 13 years from just a sort of one-off, not really even hobby that I did sometimes to somehow becoming, 200,000 plus subscribers and 36 plus million views. And it was never something that I thought, but suddenly YouTube became not only an outlet for me, not only a way to talk about things that I was excited about, but also a way for me to express my creativity and to build a community. Funny enough, after all that time and all those years, I found myself making videos that I didn't want to make. I found myself being beholden to sponsorships more than I wanted to. I found myself kind of in a position where I felt like the channel was running me, and I didn't want that anymore. So I've started this channel in the hopes that I can help people like you avoid some of the pitfalls that I fell into. The first pitfall, the first lesson, I guess, is that you have to have faith in yourself before there's proof. Maybe you're a religious person, maybe you're not. But the difference between faith and proof is belief. You believe that you can do something. If you have proof, then you don't have to believe it. It's there. But nobody will give you permission to make videos on YouTube. No one's going to invite you in and say, hey, we are so excited to find your videos and watch them, and you're going to get on. No. So many billions of minutes and hours are uploaded to YouTube every single day. It's a daunting thing. Chance that you might have success on YouTube if you start out thinking that way is very small. There is a way that you can overcome it. There is a way that you can be successful. And the first step is to not wait for permission, but to take action on your own. Publish videos before you're ready to publish videos. Because if you wait until you're ready, you never will be ready. There'll always be something. I need a microphone. I need a camera. I need a this or that. All excuses, none of them valid. If you have a smartphone, you can make a video. And the sooner you get started making videos, the sooner you'll get through all of the growing pains that you have to go through in order to make videos. When I first started making videos, I had no idea what I was doing. I wanted to make some videos because I thought YouTube was cool. And so at first I put a webcam above my desk and I did a time lapse of me writing in the morning. And I put that on YouTube. Why would anybody want to watch that? I don't know. I reviewed the Kindle 2, I believe it was. Anyway, I didn't know what I was doing. I had never done anything related to video. I did have some experience with audio equipment and all that kind of stuff, but none of it was, I just wanted to do it. And I'd been someone who created things for long enough to know that I wasn't going to get some kind of golden ticket that got me in the door. I didn't even want that. I just wanted to do it. I thought it looked fun, so I started to do it. And if you are in that similar position, that's what you have to do. How can you start? Well, if I were to go back and do it again, I might start out low pressure. Every morning, sit down, put up your phone, camera, whatever it is that you're using, and talk to your camera. Just talk to it and don't put any pressure that it has to be anything. I do something called the morning pages every day where I write 3 longhand pages of just whatever's in my head. It's like, just comes out. I put it on the page. I close the notebook. I don't look at it again. I've done this for almost 2 decades, and I have never gone back and read anything. But the practice of putting pen to paper every single day made it so that when I open a document to write a script or to write a short story or to write a lyrics, a poem, whatever it is, I have no fear of the page. I can do it right away. And if you do that with video, you might have a similar experience. None of these are short, quick fixes. There is no short, quick way to have success on YouTube. There is just iteration. Put your butt in the chair and do it. And the next day, do it again. And then you start to build some familiarity, some systems, some comfort. And the next thing you know, it's not nearly as frightening as it might have been. Once you get started on YouTube, even before you really think about doing anything with it seriously, you will encounter a word that I feel like is greatly misunderstood and often mispronounced. And that word is niche or niche. Niche is the wrong thing to think about. A lot of times when people encourage you to pick a niche, they're telling you what people hear is talk about one thing only, and that's it. But the truth is, you don't want to talk about one thing only. When I first started, I talked about gaming headsets because that's what I was curious about, because I had never had any and I was going to play video games with a friend, and the first gaming headset that I bought was terrible. And so I just, out of anger, frustration, and desire to communicate to other people, made video game headset videos reviewing the ones that I would go and get. And then it went to headphones, and then it went to mobile devices, smartphones, etc., etc., etc. And each time I kind of took everything to its end point. Like, I didn't think that I had anything else to say about gaming headsets. I didn't think I had anything else to say about headphones. And I did not recognize the through line that existed with all of those topics. The through line that existed through all those topics encompassed an overarching interest that I have in audio production, in audio reproduction. I just was like super curious about all of those things. And this was back in the day when I went to smartphones. LG was putting high quality digital converters in their smartphones, and Apple was getting rid of the headphone jack altogether. And so it all made sense for me, but I didn't see immediately that through line in what I was doing. When I did, I started to recognize that there was much more freedom for me to talk about what I wanted to talk about than I thought about before. So do not niche down. Find that through line of interest that you have and let that carry you through all of the topics that it encompasses. Lesson 3 is about validation and the trap of validation, I guess. Once you start making your videos and you start getting people watching and you start to have some success and you're like, wow, okay, I was here by myself and up until like a little while ago, and now all these people are here. That can start to feel really good. But it can also be the slippery slope that you slide down to crash and burn. And it did happen to me. It happened to me in a couple of different ways. When my channel first started to get noticed for the videos that I was doing, I had companies come to me, and the companies would offer me all kinds of stuff. And at first I was just like excited to be offered stuff. So somebody offers me something, I'm like, yes, bring it to me, I'll take it. And I ended up with a lot of stuff that stayed in boxes and didn't get used, and my audience wouldn't have been interested in. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I was just like, I have to stop taking this stuff. The other way that validation kind of sneaks up on you is when it comes to views. In 2018, I'd been building my channel and momentum had been happening, and I built up to about 25, 30,000 subscribers, and I was really serious about it by this time. I went full time at the end of 2019. So I was really serious about making YouTube a very big part of my life at this time. And I was making videos about smartphones. There was a new iPhone coming out. I wasn't really happy about what Apple was doing with the new iPhone. So just off the top of my head, just in a rant style, I kind of just turned on the camera and made this video talking about how dissatisfied, how upset I was about how Apple was dropping the ball, in my estimation. And it must have struck a chord, because within a couple of days, it had hundreds of thousands of views. And by the end of a week, it had over 1 million views, 1.3 to 1.4 million views. I don't remember exactly, but it was a lot. Then that started a new kind of pressure. I had a lot of people who had never heard of me before who came to watch that video. I had a lot of people hit the subscribe button for my channel. I had a lot of people who expected for me to be that guy who made that video. But I wasn't just that guy. I had people, my video was about how I wasn't going to pre-order the iPhone. And I always had pre-ordered the iPhone until that point, but I was frustrated, and this was my hill to die on, I guess. But because I reviewed smartphones, when the iPhone came out, I went out and got one. And this was a betrayal to many of the people who had watched that other video. And I was suddenly thrust into a situation where I had a much larger audience with much different expectations for me than what I understood or could honestly deal with. And so I had to sort of allow, at first I wanted to hit a home run every time. I wanted more million view videos. I knew other people did it, and I thought, wow, how can I do that? But then I was chasing. And once you start chasing, you never catch what you're after. And I didn't. What I should have done is taken a moment, stepped back, and said, okay, what got me here? What is it that people have been attaching themselves to that they were so excited about that got my channel to this point? And I should have just said, I don't have to hit a home run every time. I just have to speak to my audience and not feel as though I have to repeat a performance that's not repeatable. It took me a long time to learn that lesson, and a lot of anxiety, heartache, stress, etc. The fourth lesson is about failure. Failure, like what I just talked about, but also the small failures that we have in every thing that we create. Every video, sometimes you'll have those videos where you'll be like, my goodness, like this video is just gonna be a banger. I can't wait for people to watch this video. They're gonna be so excited. I'm gonna get dozens and dozens and hundreds and thousands of views, and then it does nothing. And then it just sits. And you're like, what happened? What happened? And so many people will be like, the YouTube algorithm hates me, or I'm shadow banned, or whatever. But the truth is, there's always an answer in your video regardless. The answer is there. You have to learn how to find it. The craft of making videos is not like to Jedi mind trick your viewer, but to give the viewer what they need in order to follow you. Now, you've all probably seen videos from people who are just like, oh, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just got done washing the dishes, and, I hadn't made a video in a while, so I thought I'd sit down and make a video for you guys. Here's this, whatever. By the time I hear washing the dishes, I'm like gone. Because the video isn't making a promise. It's not hooking me. It's not making a promise. It's not engaging my emotions, and it's not taking me somewhere. So I don't want to just sit in a room with that guy. The most important part of your video is by far the first 30 seconds, because that's where you set the hook, you make the promise, you engage the emotions, and draw your audience in. When I went to the Iowa Writers Workshop for grad school and got an MFA in fiction. And there was a teacher there. He passed away the year before I got to the workshop, but he had a lot of sayings about writing that are good for all kinds of different creativity. And his most popular saying was meaning, sense, and clarity. A story has to have meaning, sense, and clarity. And that's what you want to set up for your viewer in those first 30 seconds. What am I saying? What do I mean when I start to make this video? What is the most important thing that this viewer needs to know about where we're going? And I have to tell him right now. And then as you go into that and you start to make your promise about where the video is going to take them and what you're going to do to get them there, you have to make it make sense. You have to promise something that makes sense to the viewer. And then the clarity comes as you unspool everything that the video is about, right? All of these different points that you're making, all of these different arguments that you're throwing out there, whatever it might be. If you're baking a cake, it has to start with a bowl, and then all the ingredients have to go together, right? Meaning, sense, and clarity. And a lot of times, your video fails because one of those things wasn't there. And 9 times out of 10, if you go back and look at the first 30 seconds of your video, you'll probably see where you lost them. And once YouTube sees you losing people, YouTube stops pushing your video, and that's just how it works. So those 30 seconds, meaning, sense, clarity, go forward. Lesson number 5. And this took me forever to learn. In fact, I'm still learning it, trying to get better at it, because I've never been a person who was very good at creating systems. But systems are the integrity of what you build. They are the platform on which everything you make stands. So when you start out on your YouTube journey, have systems in place. Even if they change over time, think about how you want YouTube and making YouTube videos live in your life. Having a cadence, having a rhythm will trump lack of motivation every time. If I don't always feel like making a video, but I know when I am supposed to make a video. So, because I've built these systems, I will sit down and I will make the video. Sometimes I'll make the video more than once because I forgot to hit record. Once you establish a rhythm, like let's say, okay, you don't want to eat the whole elephant, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't want to eat the whole elephant on Monday, right? So you eat the elephant one bit at a time. On Monday, maybe write your script or take some notes or bullet points or whatever it is. Just start to get the idea percolating in your mind. On Tuesday, maybe you finalize that script and you shoot some B-roll, right? On Wednesday, you have that script, you have that B-roll, and you start to do the A-roll. Now, I don't do a lot of B-roll, A-roll. Like, A-roll is how I roll. And a lot of times, I'm more extemporaneous as I make my videos. But I always have them planned to a certain degree long before I ever step in front of the camera. And so if you do that and on Thursday you edit and on Friday you release the video, you have a system in place where you aren't overwhelming yourself by eating the whole elephant. You are giving yourself a system that you can trust to say that the elephant will be by Friday eaten. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exactly that cadence. And if eating the elephant is a weird thing, sorry. If you don't have that kind of system in place and you want to make YouTube or any kind of creativity a big part of your life, you will become overwhelmed by the pressure that you put on yourself by not having that structure. You'll become overwhelmed and anxious and ultimately burned to a crisp by the pressure. And you have to give yourself that grace to know that, like, I have a process for this. As long as I get done with each step in my process, I'll be good to go. Finally, you put it all together, right? You've got faith in yourself. You are going to make the videos. You are going to learn from each video what it is that made it successful or not. And then you are going to refine your systems. And then you're going to refine your systems based on that information. And then you're going to repeat. That is the way to eat the whole elephant in this YouTube game. The views don't matter. The niche doesn't matter. So many of these things don't matter. Telling your story to your viewer and making it happen in such a way that you can live with yourself while doing it is how you will win the YouTube game. And if if this is something that you want to learn more, and I have a school community that's made up of people who do want to get better at these things. And on that community, I have a checklist of things that you need to do every week for your videos in an order that typically works for a lot of people. I also have a guide that will help you sort of triangulate the kinds of videos that you want to make. Those two documents will really help you, if you're just starting out, get a sense of what it is that you're supposed to do. So click the link to the school community down below. Go there, join, look at those things, ask questions of the group, and help us build a community where we are helping each other do this thing. Making a life out of a creative pursuit can sometimes feel like you always need a map. You need guidance through the slings and arrows, the jungles of all the different things. But if you learn these 5 lessons, and if you take these steps, then you won't so much need a map as you will need just a compass to point you in the right direction. And once you're on that direction, once you are walking that ordinal, latitudinal, whatever it is line, then all you need to do is put one foot in front of the other. And that's what I want to help you do with my school community, with the programs that I'm building. So I hope you'll subscribe here. I hope you'll go down and click the link to the school community. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I have a program for that. You can DM me on school and we can have the discussion. But I've had all of these experiences, and I've learned all of these lessons over the time that I've done this, and I want to share that. I want to share it with you and with anyone who feels like they need a little bit of a guide through this whole creative process. So please come on over and join us. It'll be fun, right? Anyway, thanks so much. My name is Jason. Until the next time, I'm out.